Okay.
If we were out in the wilds chasing our food, we just need to see those few colours in order to find it. And conversely, we'd be able to see in 2 dimensions. We need to have a depth perception in order to see where an animal is in terms of how far away it is as well, in order to judge attacking or kind of killing that animal.
Okay.
And conversely, if an animal's doing that to us, we need to have the same perception in order to run away.
Okay, so you're sort of intertwining perception and dimensions.
Yes.
Could this have something to do with when early, maybe in the first hour, you were talking about animals and their ability and senses? Is it that is that what the ancients knew, that if they could tap into those senses of the animals, they could get around that table themselves? Is that what they were trying to do?
It could well be. It's interesting, isn't it, that the same cultures that, if you like, tapped into, for want of a better way of putting it, this kind of animal knowledge, also are the same cultures that have these shamanistic experiences. You were talking about mushrooms earlier on, the kind of concept of using hallucinogenic substances in order to enter an alternative state, of being an alternative state. Is the dream world a dream world, or is the dream world from perhaps the Aboriginal sense and the Native American sense another part of the dimensions that we live in? Okay. When we think of animals, if you think in terms of think in terms of bats, for example. Bats hear totally differently to us. Bats hear on an ultrasonic kind of level, and they use that hearing to work out where they are. So they see by hearing, which is quite a strange thing for us to take on board.
Okay.
Bees see in a totally different way from a bee's perspective. If you're approaching a plant or a flower, more to the point, bees see the colour in such a way that it looks like a great big target for them to home in and go straight to the stamen and get the pollen that they need. Dogs have a wide sense of hearing. So all of these animals are certainly experiencing reality in a different way to we are. Whether you can say that's experiencing it on a different dimension, that's another thing. I think the whole point of the dimensions thing, like I say, is that we limit our way of being able to see it, but it doesn't mean it doesn't exist.
All right. Listen, Steve, we need to go to our final break, so just stay on the line.
Okay.
All right, everybody, on our Newsmaker line tonight is Steve Mitchell, and we're talking about Dragons and Rings, and you can go to his website at dragonsandrings.com. We have the link up there. Don't forget to check out Andy's links at the top of the Edge broadcast website. We're going to be right back right after this. And welcome back to the Edge television broadcast. On our Newsmaker line tonight is Steve Mitchell. Steve, welcome back.
Hiya.
Get the headset back on there.
Oh, you caught me out. Oops.
Yeah, oh, man, you must have would you jump in a circle and jump back in?
Well, yeah, I was zooming off to just get a pizza from that Orion's belt or wherever it was that we were going to.
Oh, you know about Fred, huh? Yeah, Fred, the alien, he drives around in a round spaceship.
I have not had a chance to see or listen to Fred the Alien, and I'm going to have to go on as soon as this interview has completed. Because when we spoke earlier on about Fred this afternoon for you guys, I was in the evening time, so I was enjoying the garden and having a quiet kind of pint and a bit of a kind of enjoyment outside. And subsequently, Fred the Alien wasn't something that I was going to jump up and go and see them, but certainly now you've encouraged me to kind of find out a little bit more about him.
Well, sure.
Does he appear regularly?
Yes, he does, and he is an Edge fan, and I guess there's a whole planet up there that likes to tune into the Edge for their entertainment, and so
absolutely,
we appreciate it. We found out there's something called the Zetas. They are in orbit actually, so if you get a chance to say hello to the Zetas, they tune in quite frequently.
Hi, Zetas. Hi, lovely to hear you.
Yeah.
Yay.
Okay.
Excellent.
All right.
So does Fred host his own show, or is he just kind of this guy who kind of appears?
You know what? That's an interesting question there, Steve. I think I might pose that to him. We've learned a lot about his species. By the way, they say, or Fred said, that they're not the ones that's mutilating the cattle.
Go on.
And, well, of course, they said they did. They have taken a few because they like to have a good burger up there. They don't have any.
No, I mean they must be. Do they have the atmosphere up there for barbecues?
Well, I'm not sure about that. Their planet is devoid of any kind of flowers or plants that I saw from it. It is red. It's almost like a Mars-like thing. They have, of course, Fred has a pet I saw, but so what they do, I guess they just take vacations down here. and visit the local Walmart, what have you, grab a few things.
I suppose it would explain, a lot of the cattle mutilation. It is what seems to be round shapes cut out of their skin by lasers. Have you noticed that?
Yes.
Perhaps that's the whole kind of burger kind of symbolism. They're taking out their little bit of round burger. Because, of course, being from another planet, they wouldn't understand our concept of actually having to maybe kill the cow first before trying to turn it into burgers. So maybe this is what they're doing with their little laser guns, cutting the circles out of its hide, and off they're popping to their barbecues back on their own planet.
Now, listen, we can go right from that to the fact that they have found mutilated cattle around crop circles. Steve, how do you account for that? Is that the good Earth? Is the Earth mutilating cattle to try to tell us something?
Jury's out. I haven't, to be brutally honest with you. I've come across the cattle mutilation thing. I've read about it. There's a certain amount of evidence, like you say, that suggests that it's there. It's not something I've actually looked into so far. I would have to see a picture of a cattle at a specific point near a crop circle in relation to what was happening on an energetic level. Again, going back kind of more seriously to this round shape, it's certain that the incisions do seem to be in that shape, and you could argue that a ball of energy, for example, flying out might well kind of literally cauterize the skin and cut into it like a laser, and consequently kill the animal in the process. So, that's my first thoughts without even having kind of thought about it until you asked me just now. That may well be how it ties in.
Right. And I mentioned this to Andy last week, and I saw it on, I think it was Yahoo News, said that somebody had taken a hammer to try to smack a chunk out of the Stonehenge. But I think I understand, is Stonehenge, is it guarded? Are there police people there?
Yeah, there's a huge peripheral fence around it. They certainly have, I think they have some kind of night duty there. I'm just trying to remember. Certainly, I mean, the problem with any sacred space, whether it's a church, whether, I guess, bus stop, whether it's a holy circle, stone circle, whatever, people seem to want to take away their souvenirs of it to prove they were there. Or to kind of desecrate it in some way. Going back to the Royal Right stones we mentioned earlier on, a few years ago they had some vandals turn up with yellow paint who basically just sprayed this yellow paint all over the stones, absolutely kind of covered them with this stuff. But of course you can't just go along with a kind of couple of scrubbing brushes and just brush it off. It's a painstaking process, literally peeling with tweezers every little piece of paint off of these stones.
Steve,
mindless.
Steve, do you think that any of these circles could be portals?
Right, it's something I kind of guessed that we almost hit on with the whole interdimensional stuff earlier on. One of my kind of observations is that if and this is what I kind of try to show in the DVD. Certainly I perceive that there's an energy structure created by stone circles, and that energy structure creates a circular spinning energy structure which within itself creates a bit like a kind of electricity current versus magnetic current, creates an up and down current of electricity. Sorry, let's start again. Up and down current of energy. Bear in mind, we're suggesting, or I'm suggesting, that all of these energies act in various multi-dimensional ways, if you like. It's not just kind of up and down, left and right, forwards and backwards, but it's also up and down, left and right, forwards and backwards through time and through whatever the next dimensions are. Essentially, then, yes, to my mind, a stone circle